the seminar, everyone. Hope you're feeling rejuvenated after having your tea and coffee. We will now proceed with the next session. Our lineup is packed with brilliance. Get ready to soak in the wisdom from leaders at the forefront of security innovation.
Calling on stage for the first keynote address, Captain Garry Singh, CPP CSM, President IRIS Consulting. He will be sharing his expertise on impact of global disturbance on internal security in India. Captain Garry Singh, founder of IRIS Consulting, blends military and corporate expertise in risk management and investigations. With prestigious awards and certifications, he advises international corporations and serves on advisory boards and committees for academic and security institutions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to all the august gathering here. I think, first of all, it's very important to almost raise a cheer for Captain Tyagi, who always remains young. Ensured that first ICISS takes place, and definitely all the guidance from Captain Mahesh, Jal Soin, and Khal Srivastava for offering a beautiful venue. So that, thank you so much, sir. This really makes it great. And at the same time, I will say that I'm not keeping well today. I just popped some pills and reached here to do my session. So at least I have an official reason if I don't make sense today. Otherwise, generally I don't find excuses, but today I have one. So I think there was a discussion in the previous session when there were question marks about the risk and security.
But let me congratulate you for being the biggest industry in the world, revenue-wise, and the most needed industry psychologically and physically both. There are people who talk about oil is the biggest. Every year they make 5.5 trillion.
Then the second comes up, life insurance, folks, 4.6 trillion. If you start looking at security, starts right from the borders. Why we need weapons? We are securing the country. That industry itself brings huge money. Why we need CCTVs? We need security and monitoring, maybe efficiency, but major cause is security. The guarding industry, the physical guarding industry, the physical security guards, the manpower is 235 billion worldwide. And there are many more, sensors, alarms, and whatever. If you combine all this, no petroleum, no telecom, no IT is closed, where you are the biggest industry in the world because you're the most needed. That is important. So never have doubt that security is not needed. I've seen speakers coming on stage saying security adds to cost. If I add one, this control, that control adds to cost. My question to them is always very simple. Will you leave your home without locking it? Don't spend on the lock. If you need that lock, other institutions, other installations need more locks, different security features. So that's maybe just a follow-up to the previous one. But coming to how the international turbulence also impact our internal security. First of all, the lines between international borders and internal security are regularly blurring. Because the attacks are not only physical in nature, but also business in nature, information security in nature, contractual in nature, psychological in nature. So there is no more only attacking at the borders. Are we not at war with China? Are we waiting for war? No, we are. Why are we blocking their apps? Why they are supporting Pakistan again? We are at war. So we don't have a choice. There are a lot of people say, when will third world war happen? You're confused. It's already happening. Information warfare is the biggest warfare which will happen. It will continue to the future. So when these lines are blurring, not only the warfare has changed and asymmetric warfare, but also the type of physical threats you had at the border are at your doorstep now. Haven't you seen bomb blasts within malls? Haven't you seen bullets being flying in offices? Maybe thankfully we are far more luckier that we don't have so many bullets flying as in US in offices than in India. But yes, the threats Why the hotels have all the security features and buildings need to do, because the threat at the border has become threat at my doorstep and office step. So the lines are blurring as well. So our internal external security has to finally merge as one security. Gone is the time when we were even discussing, oh, it has to be information, physical together. You have to even look at international intelligence and your office intelligence together. Unfortunately, India has not got sufficient programs to club it together. But if you look at US, what is OSAC? Under the garb of one organization, there's a lot happens. So yes, that's something India also has to look for. But let's see, if there's an international conflict or a war, how does it impact on internal security? So there are two factors I want to bring out. One, the impact on you is directly proportional to how your relationship with that external conflict are. And secondly, it will still be physically important. So it's also directly proportional at what physical distance you are from there. Let's see, the latest conflict, a full-fledged conflict, is happening at Russian borders towards their western side. Yes, at the physical, we are a little far away. So it maybe is not impacting us more physically. But if you look at the geographies which are closer by, it's a huge, huge impact. And if you look at also the business-wise, it becomes lot more impactful if you're closely related. For example, if Iran starts getting into something, because of our fuel supplies are linked to them, the impact on India will start increasing. If there is something happening on Chinese side, there's something happening close to us, the impact will be much higher. So thankfully, the present one example of conflict we are looking at is at a far away. So physical distance wise, less impact. We don't have huge business relationship, or we have not got entangled into either we are NATO or we are this, we are Russian. So we at least have been able to keep a little bit of an insulation from that particular impact. But let's say something same if happens to our eastern border, western border, all these impacts will go much, much higher. If we are involved in it, it'll be even becoming worse. So one of the biggest still, I believe, apart from crime, which is our homegrown internal security challenge, the other big internal security challenge where we all are more worried, because at least our systems are keeping that crime away from the office and home, because at least we are staying and working in those island hubs which have been created and more secure. So when you look at, let's say, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Gurgaon, Noida, Bangalore, the condominiums. If you look at crime of Gurgaon, Delhi, and wherever, if you look at that condo, or you look at that office complex as cyberspace or anywhere, there are not crimes inside there. So that crime rate of Gurgaon is actually outsourced to us island hubs. So we've been able to get that secured well, but outside it's still working badly because maybe they don't have security professionals like you. So coming to these incidents, towards the larger incident has been a bigger problem for us of terrorism. Terrorism leading to blasts, terrorism leading to armed attacks, terrorism leading to assassination of top leaders, assassination of even business people. All that has been part of terrorism. And terrorism, when they operate, they also bring a lot of other problems with them. Arms, drugs, and these are just few things to name. And thankfully, if you're looking at India's terrorist attack in last 1 decade, 2 decades, and 3 decades, you will find a huge drop fall. And this huge drop fall, again, is a matter of internal security of our neighbor. So the way our internal security helps us, Pakistan's internal security problems are not helping them. So see the correlation. If Pakistan was still strong, able to make more friends, our problem would not have gone down. But their internal security problems are putting something good for us. Our internal security problems going down. But that's not the only factor. Another very important factor is the way we started responding. We were responding in a manner, but now we've become vocal about it. We call it. This is what we have done because we think you did this. So that response, see how the lines are blurring. It's an international response, whether an airstrike or a raid on them, but it is solving our internal security problems. That's how the lines are blurring. That's where the challenges of Just the internal security doesn't remain aloof as internal security. Another big issue is how we isolate them diplomatically. So one of the big issue which is linked to it, how we've been able to respond and their internal problems, diplomatic relationship, all this is now part of internal security. While at operational level, you may not be dealing with it, but what you're dealing with is dictated by this. If you had more attacks, no worry, you're really working on some system, this and that, red alerters come in, get ready, run in that direction, more drills. So what your operational challenges are also linked to the strategic problems and how they are being solved. So I will really say that what India has done in last 10, 12, 15 years is really becoming far better for us to focus, like they said, on business needs as well, rather than the only physical security needs that we were for very long catering. And also our overall knowledge and skills have gone up. So we also are more eligible to talk about risks rather than only the security that's been a conservative subject we work on. Another major thing which happens with international conflicts is your supplies get impacted. And if there's an international conflict and by chance you are involved in it, the biggest challenge you'll have, whatever you want to buy, even as arms and ammunition, becomes more expensive or people shall not give it to you. These things are not covered in media, but if you go to a lot of intelligence reports, hardly has been any war when a country as part of the war not suffered supply of certain ammunition, weapons, medical kits or whatever. Every war. If you go through intelligence reports, your supplies immediately get impacted. You become more desperate. You have no choice. You're ready to spend whatever. So your supplies sometimes may stop because, for example, let's say if Iran is into war or somebody else into war and US says, nobody can supply anything, otherwise I will attack you as well. Yes, their supplies will get impacted. Obviously, the war munition at that time is more important, but as important as your fuel, as important is food, as important is a lot of other factors which you still need to sustain and fight. I'm very sure if you go to old days, you realize even if somebody made a very big fort, very strong fort, one of the main features of the fort was enough supplies inside. Otherwise, you'll get surrounded and you'll be dying for water and food. So that supply right now, obviously, the supply chains are not local as they used to be when it was fort. Nearby agri-produce were available. Now the supply chains are global in nature. So even that is a very, very big impact that comes on the supplies. And these supplies, apart from I focused on the war material which is needed to fight, but it will also go to, like I said, fuel, go to others. Right now, because of energy supplies to Europe run through Russia, and they were trying to put impact on Russia, you'll be surprised. Almost half of the homes in Europe during last winter couldn't afford gas to warm their houses. It's gone to that bad state. So this internal challenge of nature that you cannot even afford to have gas when the temperatures are dipping to -15 and -20, that also please try to correlate that your own economy is suffering, you're not able to afford, and obviously that will also ultimately lead to some impact on crime rates going up again. So all these things are very interwoven and cannot remain in isolation. And another thing is one very important factor, which I would like to portray before winding this up. It has also become that which side you take and how you're aligned in a conflict for your future growth, future progress, and future business needs. It has become a reality. And there's the reason, including Modi, has to say, I will make this many trillion economy. Every other person, they see growth of the country based on what GDP is growing. So let's realize it. I know a lot of us are from uniform, and we do not understand the value of a rupee earning very well. It's not with a negative comment, but because from day one we are trained. Live or not live, you will ensure you'll secure the nation. So that's what we've done all the while. So how do we just switch on and say, okay, nation, you go behind and let me count money now. But the fact of life is, even if your country is being assessed based on what GDP you have, If your prime minister tells everybody, vote for me, I'll make this country reach there, that's a gauge. And that's not only a gauge, that's also part of your lifestyle. Why people are still moving out of India and going to other countries? Because of a certain basic lifestyle available, basic certain security available. So when we talk about those clusters are safe and not the complete city, if you have more money, you will be able to get security everywhere. So that's maybe just my 2 cents on how the international conflicts, internal security, and a lot of things which we do are all interwoven. Yes, you are also impacting by your little bit to reach that international stage, and what's happening there is also impacting the job we do. So I'll only like to say that thank you for making not only the internal security, but also India safe. Thank you so much. Always, always grateful to every security profession. Jai Hind.
Huge thank you to Sir for his enlightening session. Let's give him another round of applause for sharing his experience. Now, I would like to please invite Colonel Ravi Chaudhary
On the stage to facilitate Captain Garry.